In a move shaking the global economy, a seismic shift is underway in North American trade relations. Canada has officially pivoted its trade focus away from the United States, marking a historic turning point in its economic strategy. Today, December 14, 2025, Ottawa and Jakarta announced the final ratification of the Canada-Indonesia Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, or CPA. This landmark deal opens the door to unprecedented cooperation between the two nations, spanning everything from energy and agriculture to technology and education. This is the culmination of a years-long strategy to reduce Canada's reliance on the U.S., a plan that has been quietly in motion behind closed doors for nearly a decade. Canadian officials have worked tirelessly to diversify trade, seeking new partners and fresh opportunities beyond their southern neighbor. For decades, the U.S.-Canada relationship was North America's economic backbone. Billions of dollars in goods cross the border daily, supporting millions of jobs on both sides. Now that foundation is fracturing as Canada looks across the Pacific, eager to tap into the dynamic markets of Asia. The Canadian dollar surged, signaling investor confidence in this new direction. Financial markets responded with optimism, as analysts predicted a wave of new investments and business ventures between Canada and Indonesia. Prime Minister Trudeau called it a new dawn for Canadian prosperity, emphasizing the need for resilient partnerships in the 21st century. He highlighted the importance of building alliances that can withstand global shocks and ensure long-term stability for Canadian families and businesses. The era of Canada as a junior partner to Washington is over. Canada is stepping onto the world stage with renewed confidence, determined to chart its own course and assert its independence in global affairs. This realignment follows a decade of increasing trade friction and U.S. protectionism, which forced Canada to rethink its economic future. Tariffs, border disputes, and shifting political winds in Washington have all contributed to a sense of urgency in Ottawa. Today's move is a declaration of economic independence that will reshape supply chains for generations. Canadian companies are already preparing to expand their presence in Southeast Asia, forging new links that bypass traditional North American routes. The implications are geopolitical as much as economic. As Canada strengthens its ties with Indonesia, it sends a clear message to the world. It is ready to play a bigger role in shaping the future of global trade and diplomacy. By anchoring itself in the Indo-Pacific with Indonesia, Canada positions itself as a reliable partner in the world's fastest-growing economic zone. This partnership promises to unlock new markets, create jobs, and foster innovation on both sides of the Pacific. The world is watching. Is this the beginning of the end for the North American economic bloc as we know it? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: the global balance of power is shifting, and Canada is determined to lead the way into a new era of opportunity. For over a century, the US and Canada have shared more than just a border. They have woven together a deeply integrated economy, one that has shaped the destinies of both nations. This partnership has been built on trust, cooperation, and a mutual understanding that prosperity on one side of the border often means prosperity on the other. Auto parts, energy, and technology have flowed seamlessly across the world's longest undefended border, fueling industries and communities in both countries. The movement of goods and services is so constant and efficient that it often goes unnoticed, yet it is the lifeblood of countless businesses and workers. Every single day, trade between the two nations reaches into the billions of dollars, making this one of the largest trading relationships on the planet. Most Canadian provinces rely overwhelmingly on the U.S. market, with some sending over 70% of their exports southward. This economic bond has created a powerful engine for growth and innovation. Landmark agreements like NAFTA and its successor, the USMCA, have codified this unique relationship, fostering a sense of shared destiny and formalizing the rules that keep trade flowing smoothly. These deals have not only opened markets, but have also encouraged collaboration and investment across the border. Yet, this interdependence means that shocks in one country are felt instantly in the other. A slowdown in the U.S. housing market can ripple through Canadian sawmills overnight. A strike in an Ohio auto plant can halt assembly lines in Ontario, leaving workers idle and factories silent. This close relationship has created millions of jobs and brought prosperity to both sides of the border. But it has also exposed a profound vulnerability. When one partner stumbles, the other feels the impact just as sharply. In many ways, Canada's economy has often been a passenger in a car driven by the U.S., booming when America thrived, but suffering when American policy or economic conditions shifted. The fortunes of Canadian businesses, workers, and families have been closely tied to decisions made in Washington. For decades, the benefits of this partnership seem to outweigh the risks. Canadians enjoyed rising living standards, strong job growth, and a sense of security that came from being so closely linked to the world's largest economy. But as political winds began to shift in Washington, the once unbreakable bond between the two countries was tested as never before. New policies and priorities in the U.S. brought uncertainty and anxiety to Canadian businesses and policymakers. The U.S. started to prioritize its own interests more aggressively, sometimes at the expense of its northern neighbor, leaving Canada exposed to sudden changes and unpredictable challenges. It became clear that the time had come for Canada to confront its deep-seated economic dependency and rethink its approach to growth and resilience. The old model of relying so heavily on a single partner was no longer sustainable in a rapidly changing world. A new path was needed, one that would build on the strengths of the past, but also prepare Canada for a more independent and secure economic future. The shift began subtly, then accelerated. The U.S. turned to aggressive protectionism. Tariffs hit Canadian steel, aluminum, and softwood lumber, core exports, under the guise of national security. Canadian steel, once a staple in American cars, was suddenly taxed at 25%. The open market vanished overnight. Steel mills in Ontario and aluminum smelters in Quebec scaled back. Layoffs followed. The pain spread to forestry, with new tariffs on lumber hitting British Columbia hard. For Canadian workers, the uncertainty was devastating. Jobs lost, futures in doubt, the sense of partnership was replaced by betrayal and vulnerability. The assumption that the U.S. would always be a reliable partner was shattered. Relying on a single market became a strategic liability. The tariffs were a wake-up call. Canada could no longer let its fate be dictated by U.S. politics. The search for new markets became urgent. Economic survival now depended on diversification. The rules had changed, and so would Canada. In the face of an increasingly unpredictable U.S. market, Canada made a bold and strategic move by launching the Indo-Pacific Strategy, a comprehensive plan designed to deepen and broaden its ties with Asia. This wasn't just a reaction to shifting global winds, but a proactive leap into a future where Canada would play a more significant role on the world stage. The Indo-Pacific Strategy was far more than a collection of new trade deals. It represented a whole-of-government effort to fundamentally reorient Canada's place in the world. Every department, from trade to foreign affairs, was mobilized to ensure Canada could seize new opportunities and navigate emerging challenges. The overarching goal was clear: diversify trade, reduce dependence on the U.S., and secure long-term prosperity by linking Canada to the world's most dynamic and fastest-growing region. By tapping into Asia's economic dynamism, Canada aimed to future-proof its economy. Canada quickly became a leading voice in the CPTPP, a landmark trade pact that opened doors to 500 million consumers and positioned Canada as a key player in the Asia-Pacific. Ottawa also pursued ambitious bilateral deals, culminating in today's landmark agreement with Indonesia, one of Southeast Asia's largest and most promising economies. This strategic pivot required major investments at home and abroad. West Coast ports were expanded to handle increased trade, railways were upgraded for faster transport, and new trade offices were opened across Asia to support Canadian businesses on the ground. Canadian companies, both large and small, received unprecedented support to navigate unfamiliar markets, understand local cultures, and build lasting partnerships in Asia. The Indo-Pacific Strategy was a calculated gamble, shifting away from the familiar comfort of the U.S. market to embrace the risks and rewards of new opportunities across the Pacific. It demanded vision, resilience, and a willingness to adapt to a rapidly changing global landscape. But the alternative, remaining tethered to a protectionist and sometimes unpredictable U.S., was ultimately seen as even riskier for Canada's future. The Pacific pivot was more than a policy. It was Canada's declaration to the world that it would shape its own destiny, forging new alliances and building a more resilient economy. With determination and foresight, Canada was building new bridges across the world's largest ocean, connecting its future to the vibrant economies of Asia and beyond. Canada's pivot to Asia is being written by its companies, workers, and communities. Alberta canola farmers now ship record volumes to Japan, learning new standards and finding stability beyond the U.S. market. In tech, Waterloo firms once focused on U.S. trucking now lead in Southeast Asian port management, hiring local talent and innovating for new markets. Even traditional industries are thriving. Quebec winter clothing makers, hit by U.S. tariffs, now sell to South Korea and Japan's middle class. Communities once fearing factory closures are seeing new investment and hiring. The transition isn't easy. Companies face new regulations, cultures, and competition. But the narrative is one of resilience and ingenuity. Canadian industries are proving they can compete and win globally. American protectionism has become a catalyst for Canadian expansion. The challenge has become an opportunity. North America now stands divided by two philosophies. The US has embraced protectionism, building tariff walls and prioritizing domestic industry. This America-first approach disrupts global supply chains and creates uncertainty for partners. Canada, in contrast, champions open trade and global cooperation, building bridges, not walls. While the US renegotiates or withdraws from agreements, Canada forges new ones like the CPTPP and the Indonesia Pact. Canada's belief prosperity grows by opening markets and fostering competition. This approach makes Canada a stable, attractive place for global investment. International companies now face a choice: the massive but unpredictable US market, or Canada's stable, globally connected economy. Foreign investment in Canada is rising, especially in clean energy, AI, and advanced manufacturing. Global firms are setting up North American headquarters north of the border. Canada is transforming from junior partner to global trade hub. Canada's strategic pivot is transforming its global reputation. Once seen as a reliable but secondary player, Canada is now recognized as a bold leader in trade and diplomacy. In an era of rising populism, Canada stands out as a defender of the international rules-based order. Its leadership in salvaging the Trans-Pacific Partnership and expanding trade networks has earned global respect. Countries worldwide now view Canada as a crucial partner for free and fair trade. This has boosted Canada's diplomatic clout and made it a magnet for global talent. Skilled workers and entrepreneurs are choosing Canada for its openness and innovation. Cities like Toronto and Vancouver are becoming cosmopolitan hubs, fueling further growth. Canada's brand as an open, forward-looking society is now a key economic asset. The country is emerging as a confident, influential global leader. Canada's pivot to Asia is sending geopolitical tremors worldwide. The US-Canada relationship is evolving into one of independent equals with diverging interests. Canada's strategy offers a blueprint for other middle powers seeking to diversify beyond the US and China. This could inspire a coalition of nations dedicated to upholding global free trade. In the Indo-Pacific, Canada's engagement strengthens regional resilience and stability. Canada's success challenges the narrative that protectionism is the only way to protect workers. If sustainable, the Canadian model could influence debates in the US and beyond. The ripples from Canada's decision are reshaping the global consensus on trade. The world is watching and learning. As of December 14, 2025, North America's economic map is being redrawn. The US-centric bloc is giving way to a multipolar reality. Canada's pivot to Asia proves that diversification is not just possible, but essential. The future three partners, US, Canada, Mexico, each pursuing independent global strategies while maintaining regional ties. The US must adapt, as its neighbors become global competitors as well as partners. Canada's open trade model challenges the America First doctrine. Globally, Canada's journey shows that free trade and multilateralism remain viable. The Canada-Indonesia Pact is a vote of confidence in shared prosperity. This model could inspire a new wave of trade liberalization. Canada has taken control of its economic destiny. This is the beginning of a new chapter for North America and global trade.